Now that I have started this YouTube channel, I thought it might be a useful exercise to document what happens going forward. And this is really for other YouTube users who are sellers, Etsy sellers, sell on their own platforms, and how they use YouTube to help promote their business. So I am now a week or so into my YouTube experience. I've been uploading videos which give an overview of the sort of things that I sell, and I've also started making lots of the short product clips and scheduling those into my YouTube channel so that there's something loading every couple of days. I have quite a backlog to get through. I have plenty of material and I just want to start populating the site, getting some traffic, seeing what works. I've got my YouTube channel linked to my Etsy shop and to Instagram, and I think to my WordPress blog as well. And I'm getting a little bit of traffic, and that's fine. I have my personal YouTube channel, so I kind of use that as a gauge for getting traction, and it really takes time. There's no overnight unless you're already someone really famous or with a really strong product line. I'm neither of those things, so I'm doing everything from ground zero up. I checked my Etsy shop yesterday and I've already had someone go from YouTube to Etsy, and this is really what I need it to do. I need to bring in that organic traffic because Etsy doesn't do it anymore. The site just sits there and it's not being promoted. I mean, I have it linked to all my social media, etc, etc, but Etsy isn't doing things the way it used to, and this is a common problem for Etsy sellers. I've also been watching on YouTube recently and hearing a lot more about how you shouldn't put all your eggs into one basket, and I know that, and I know that only selling on Etsy is a very dangerous thing to do, because although it's my shop, it's not my site, and if Etsy decided to pull my shop down tomorrow, there's nothing I can do about it. So I am currently investigating setting up a Shopify store. They've been recommended to me many times and I've never taken it up. I was just looking at costs and things and just feeling a bit overwhelmed. Up until about, I think, 4 years ago, I did have my own website with a store on it, and it was an absolute disaster. So I'm very nervous about doing the experience again. However, I have been looking at the expenses. So at the moment, Shopify are doing a promotion where the first 3 months are £1 each, and then after that it's £25 for the month all in. That's as many listings as you need. It's got all the features that you need on the basic package, and it looks pretty good. You can drop your Etsy store items directly into the Shopify store, and then you just need to tweak the listings. You're not doing everything from scratch. This was something that really worried me. There are things I am worried about. I've heard that Shopify isn't really set up for international sales in the same way that Etsy is, where Etsy will look at different policies coming in. So there are packaging licenses coming in where countries want you to buy a license to be able to ship to their country. So that basically means that there are certain countries that I have stopped selling to because the licenses are too expensive for a small business like mine. and I know that there are more of those to come. There are also things like IOSS numbers. Etsy has its own, and whenever I do an international sale that requires it, it tells me on the billing page, and then I just go into the Royal Mail click and drop website, and that links to my Etsy store and uploads all that legal information for me. So it's a really easy system, and I don't know how that will work with Shopify. I don't know if I should just sell in the UK on Shopify. I've got 3 months at £1 a month to get this store up and running and established. In the meantime, I will stay with Etsy, and I will just see what happens. I've got a lot of work to do to set up a Shopify store, because my Etsy store has 600 items on it, and it's a lot of work. So I may start with a bare bones shop of the main things that I sell, and add the other collections as I go, which are less important. So if they're already on Etsy, they have, a sales channel. Cost wise, at the moment, on a monthly basis, Etsy costs me about £35, because that's constantly renewing listings every 3 months, and bearing in mind I have 600 items. When I make a sale, there are various other charges that come from Etsy with that. So if I didn't have Etsy, Shopify would cost me less, probably by about £10 a month. So there are advantages there. A lot of this is an unknown, and I am just going to see how I get on. It's going to take a while to get my Shopify store up and running. If I can get it up and running in the next month, I still have a couple of months of very cheap website payment to help me get up and running, and then it's a case of seeing how I get on. Doing things like SEO is harder when you're doing it yourself. Etsy again deals with all that. Theoretically, it's a one-stop shop that should be great for anyone who just wants to upload listings and let them sell, but unfortunately Etsy has changed a lot, and it's incredibly difficult to sell unless you're selling within the things that it wants, which is high volume, cheap, free shipping, and lots of free listings. Everything I sell is a one-off, so I'm not Etsy's ideal customer, and that's probably got a lot to do with it. But anyway, so that's my first update from a more technical perspective. This is really for the Etsy sellers, the YouTube people who are trying to use YouTube as a selling platform. People like me, small businesses just starting out, who are learning as they go. I've been inspired to get on with this thanks to 2 YouTube channels. One is Cara Bunting, who runs her really great channel about how to sell. She's really good at understanding Etsy and YouTube and all those sorts of things, and she also runs a product-based YouTube channel for her cake decorating business, which is why I got inspired to start my own YouTube channel. I'm partly using her channel as inspiration for how I can structure it. The other channel is Kim Bliss, who has just started her own Shopify store and has been documenting some of that on YouTube, and it's what really galvanized me into action and thinking I can't just carry on selling on Etsy. Etsy, my business has always been my main form of income, certainly for the last 5 years, but I've had a number of side hustles to keep things topped up because it's not enough to pay all the bills. And up until this year, Etsy was still bringing in the main money. Now, interest from savings and one of my other side hustles, which is taking surveys online, are beating Etsy in the income stakes, So it's like my business has now become the side hustle. I'm making more money in other places, and that's got to change. That's a really, really bad sign. And I know that the cost of living's had a lot to do with it. I've seen my figures slide since 2020. So I know that it is having an effect, but there are lots of other things going on. You can't just blame one thing. Anyway, that'll do for now. I hope that this might give some people some inspiration. I've certainly been inspired by the channels that I've been following to get my backside into gear and really start tackling this. I feel like I'm now getting a little bit of control back in my business because I'm taking these steps to change things, and I'm learning a lot along the way. So stay with me, keep watching, and I hope you enjoy what I post. See you soon.